Hey, good morning, Eastern Oregon, and welcome to this January 28th version of AM Live on EOA, your connection to Eastern Oregon. You can find all of our content at eoa.network. That gives you a place where you can find the location of our Facebook and YouTube, our Roku channel, and then also the web.
Yep.
Thanks for being here. Here in just a bit, we're going to have Justin Montgomery from Eastern Oregon University, and he's going to give us the second installment of artificial intelligence. We've been playing with it here a little bit in the studio. You will be fascinated. So, how are you?
Second Monday blues. It don't feel like Monday though, or second Monday.
Well, and it's the 28th. It's nearly the end of the first month of
It's crazy.
2025.
We're already almost done with
Wow,
January.
yeah. Well, hey,
1/12 of the way through the year already.
give me a break.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, let's give us sports. We're going to get to Justin quickly today.
Yeah, let's do it. AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. If you're looking for comfort that complements your style, the Flex Steel Z-Cliner offers a sleek look with a supportive build that brings relaxation to any room. Check it out at Northwest Furniture and Mattress in LeGrand. They want to make you comfortable in your own home. LHS Boys Wrestling finished 14th at the Research Tournament of Champions, but they ended up with two placers. Kenai Huff ended up getting second. He wrestled in the finals at the heavyweight division, but the star of the weekend, and he should have been the most outstanding wrestler of this tournament, was Tommy Belding for LeGrand at 157. He won his second consecutive Research Tournament of Champions. He's the first wrestler in LHS history to ever win more than one. So congratulations to Tommy, man. What a awesome, and he's only a junior. He has a chance to win 3 next year. They had, in the JV version, Brennan Pinther finished 4th and was on the podium for the Tigers, and Carson Weimer finished 3rd at 165 and podiumed as well. Big thank you to Arlie Anderson for the pictures. LHS Girls Wrestling placed 9 and so they had one overall champion in Maddie Armstrong, and then they placed 9 other girls while finishing second at the Hood River Valley Invite. And that's the trophy that you see that she's holding. That's not the LeGrand girl, but you get a truck for this trophy. For this trophy, and my son won this tournament last year, and it's a big deal to have this truck. Like it's pretty cool. So congratulations to Maddie Armstrong. That's so awesome. The other placers for LeGrand were 3rd at 105, Kirsten Azure; 7th at 105, Carly Radke; 7th at 110, Riley Lees; 4th at 115, Avery Robinson; 3rd at 120, Lindy Isaacson; 5th at 130, Emmeline Livingston; and 2nd at 145, Paige Allen; and finally 5th at 235, Macy Ermk. There's that name again. I still haven't figured out how to say it, man. I need to. You know what? There's wrestling this week, so I'm going to go up to her and ask her how to say her name. The girls will wrestle at home Thursday at 5 p.m., with the seniors being recognized at 7 p.m. Big thank you to Scott Allen and Dorian Armstrong for those pictures from Hood River, and then to Riley Lees, who's on the wrestling team for this poster. It's a good-looking poster. The wrestling team, they wrestle Thursday night for the girls. The boys wrestle tomorrow night, and it's just, there's something going on every day this week, so my mind is just spinning. LHS girls basketball showed they're the top dogs in the GOL on Friday night with a 60-55 overtime win in Baker in a hostile environment. That place was packed. I wish we could get people into the gym like Baker does, but I mean, granted, the boys are the returning state champs in Baker. But man, if we could get people, it would remind me of back in the 90s when I was in high school. That gym used to be packed for basketball. We need to do that again here. I mean, the basketball teams in this town don't get enough support, that's for sure. They play Stanfield today, the girls, at 5:30 up at the high school. And then Pendleton, both teams play Pendleton at home. The girls kick off at 6 and the boys kick off at 7:30 on Friday. So you have basketball tonight, you got boys wrestling tomorrow night, you got girls wrestling Thursday night, and then you got boys and girls basketball on Friday up at the high school. LHS boys basketball lost to Baker on Friday night, and then Columbia last night. They just had a couple rough games in a row. They'll also play Pendleton at 7:30, which is another GOL game for the boys team. They've shown flashes of brilliance. Like the first quarter against Baker, they played really well. They hung right with the returning state champs, and they looked really good. But then there's sometimes when they're just not not clicking and not on the same page, and that was the other 3 quarters. So hopefully they can get it together and pull something off on Friday night against Pendleton. The LHS swim team honored their seniors this last Saturday and held the LeGrand Swim Invitational at Veterans Memorial Pool in LeGrand. After 22 events this year, the girls are in first place in their division, and the boys sit in second place, just 1 point behind Pendleton. Big thank you to Jessica Baum for those pictures. Like I said, busy week this week for LHS sports. There's something going on every night. As for EOU hoop sports, we will talk about those on Thursday. AM Sports Report brought to you by Northwest Furniture and Mattress. Big Red Rocking Chair on Elm, off Adams in LeGrand.
All right. Cool.
Ooh, a lot of stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on, yeah.
Crazy.
Before we get to Justin, I just want to mention that we're going to be giving tickets away to the EOU show, which is next weekend. It's called You and Me and We, music that brings us together. The show is next Friday night, next Saturday afternoon, and Saturday night. And so we'll be talking about that. 3 of the choreographer and 2 of the cast members will be here on the Thursday show. And so that'll be cool, kind of cool to talk about. And then next week we have tickets that we're going to be giving away for that event. All right, let's go to our guest this morning. Hey, how are you, man?
Doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing good, yeah. So glad that you're here with us, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. I'm again.
Yeah.
For round 2.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish the audience could have been in the studio to watch us go back and forth with Dodsy's
With our phones?
with our phones.
Oh, that was wild.
Yeah,
man.
that was new to me. I'd never tried that before.
Yeah, so describe briefly. We wanted to do that technically, but we couldn't work it out. But yeah.
Yeah. Well, Dodsy and I were sitting here chatting about a couple of different things, and he goes, "Well, I wonder if my AI can talk to your AI on the phone, just and have a conversation." I said, "Okay, let's find out." So he brought up Stewie.
Yes, that's my AI guy's name.
Stuart.
And we first were trying to work it out on the computer so people could hear, but it didn't really work. Well, I mean, we could, but we didn't think about it until that last second.
Yeah.
And then, so we just took our phones out and put them together, and man, they started having a conversation.
It was kind of scary. It was weird. I've been thinking about that since the last show. Like, and then I forgot to turn my phone down. But I've been thinking about that since the last show, like whether or not the AIs would like sit there and have a conversation with each other, and that's.
Yeah.
I kind of figured they would, but I didn't know for sure. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm glad we confirmed it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it was really cool. I mean, they went back and forth, and started having a pleasant conversation. And as the conversation kept going, they were really pleasant. They kept asking each other, what can I do for you? Or,
Yeah,
what can I do for you?
Yeah. I wonder if we like we were saying before the show, I think we would have to introduce a topic for them to go back and forth about, but otherwise, like you said, I think they'd probably just sit there and exchange pleasantries in a circle, right?
Is it working?
So,
Get Bennett.
But we're having a little bit of technical difficulty right now, so just bear with us.
Okay.
Let's go to a commercial break. We'll be back in just a second.
Eastern Oregon is full of interesting people, with interesting minds and interesting things to say. Here at EO Live, we're committed to connecting you to these intriguing people with EO Talks. We let our special guests share their ideas and life experiences with deep, open, engaging, and inquisitive conversations. You'll also be informed in depth on some of the most recent and relevant events, issues, and more. EO Talks on EO Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
How can I assist you today, Justin? Is there something specific you'd like help with, or...
All right, we're back. It's just the nature of tech issues. And so, yeah. All right, well, cool. So catch us up for those people that might not have seen. Give us a basic demonstration like what you did last time. Yeah, because that's kind of interesting.
Sure. Well, I mean, how do you want to do it? On the screen, or do you want me to...
Yeah, I don't know. Just talk to it for a minute, like you
sure.
did before. Yeah, and kind of give us a brief introduction, because that was kind of interesting.
Sure. Not a problem. So, good morning, ChatGPT. I'm here on EO Live with Brent Clapp and Dodsey, and we're talking about you.
Good morning, Justin. That sounds exciting. I'm happy to be a part of your discussion. What would you like to know or highlight about me?
Tell me a little bit about what an LLM is, what you are.
Absolutely. A large language model LLM, like me, is an artificial intelligence trained on a vast data set of text to understand and generate human-like language. We use patterns and context from that data to respond to questions, hold conversations, and assist with various tasks. Essentially, we're here to provide helpful and relevant information based on what we've learned.
Sure. Well, that's all well and good, but can you tell me a funny knock-knock joke?
Of course. Here's a classic. Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Let us.
Let us who?
Let us in. It's cold out here.
That's about as classic as you can get with knock-knock jokes.
All
You
right.
enjoyed it. If you need more laughs or information,
I wonder if we asked her about something like kind of controversial, like where does she go with it? Like ask her about like global warming. Like what's your stance on global warming or something? You know what I mean? What would she say?
I don't know. We can find out.
Yeah, let's try it.
All right. So, Dodsey's got a question for you. Can you hear him if he says hello?
Hello.
yes, I can hear you. What's your question?
What is your stance on global warming?
Global warming is a significant challenge that requires urgent action. It's primarily driven by human activities like burning fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial processes. The consequences include rising temperatures, extreme weather events, and impacts on ecosystems. Addressing it involves reducing emissions, transitioning to renewable energy, and promoting sustainable practices. How do you feel about this topic?
I'm gonna stay neutral.
That's totally fair. It's a complex topic with many perspectives. If you have any specific concerns or questions about it, feel free to ask.
Wow, that's crazy. So basically, you could use that to just learn. I mean, like really, like you could learn about anything.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that you say that, because I was just watching a podcast with Roll Paul. He's a financier. He's got a pretty good podcast series. I can't say the name because you'd have to bleep out. It's How to Un Your Future.
Yeah.
And one of the statement that he made was really profound. He said that AI is driving the cost of knowledge to zero. And people don't know that or realize that yet. So, like, we're in a space where as this technology becomes more and more prevalent, and the investment in it is creating new breakthroughs. So you might have seen a couple of days ago that a company called DeepSeek released, it's their R1 model. So it's an open source model that effectively the cost of training was about $5 million as opposed to OpenAI's cost, which is estimated around $100 million.
Wow.
All of the model weights, the model training set, it's all open source, so you can go see it. Whereas OpenAI is closed. You can't see a lot of that because it's proprietary. But what that means is, so the R1 model has been rated as equivalent to ChatGPT's O1 model, which is their thinking model, right? And we'll go in and look at some of that here in a second. But what that means is the cost of that O1 model now has, like the output of that O1 model is now not as valuable because the R1 model is out there for free.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right,
And
yeah.
and we talked about that a little bit from a standpoint of creative.
Yes.
You know, creative ideas, they are a lot of work for creatives to come up with. And now, I mean, so the value of some of that intelligence just goes splat.
It does, yeah. It's going down, and if the trends continue, which there's no reason to think they won't, it'll effectively go to zero, right?
Wow.
So the cost, and I mean, currently the cost of this license to be able to utilize the voice feature on O1 and the other features, which I'll show you here in a second, it's $25 a month, right?
That's nothing.
That's nothing. And so one of the things that ChatGPT or OpenAI released a couple of days ago is their operator, and it's their first, what's the word, commercial agent product. And so what it is you can turn it on and let it search the internet for you. You can assign it tasks and it'll perform those tasks autonomously. You don't have to oversee it. You don't have to do anything. So go order me tickets, buy me a pizza, create this PDF for me. Right. They give a bunch of examples on the site of what it does, calculate a price, download lectures, and it operates all at the same time, right? So
Wow.
you can have 10 tasks that this agent can perform for you while you're over, I don't know, editing video.
Right.
Like we had
That's
talked
crazy.
about last time. And so that is the next, that's the real workforce disruption. I was thinking about this the other day, is like, what's the overall, cost benefit? Why is this investment happening? I mean, I'm sure some of you saw the other day where Donald Trump and Sam Altman, the CEO of ChatGPT, came out and announced the $500 billion investment into AI infrastructure.
Yeah, I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. So why? Well, where's the benefit? If the cost of these are going to zero, how are companies going to make money? And the way that they're going to make money, one of the ways that they're going to make money is basically selling AI labor to
Operators,
operators and agents.
That's crazy, man.
Right, so
It's selling you robots, basically.
Well, they're selling you.
Not robots in the physical, but robots in your computer.
Yeah, that's exactly it, right? And those robots will be a marketing analyst. They'll be a paralegal. They'll be a administrative assistant,
Research analyst,
right?
An editor eventually.
An
one
editor
day down
eventually.
the road. Yeah, hey, edit this or take these video clips and tell this story, and it'll be.
But I guess we still, I like this. I mean, I can see the benefit from the standpoint of getting work done, but it's not too much different than if I give a project, if I have a super video project that I'm working on that's important to me and I give it to Bennett. To edit. Okay.
Right.
Bennett is a very good editor. He's a good storyteller. He can handle it. But it's my personal story. So sometimes it takes me longer to go back over and examine to make sure that it told the story the way that I wanted than if I had just created it myself. You know what I mean? So you still have that auditing portion that is out there still.
It frees you up. So one of the things that was really interesting, I was at a WorkSource Summit 2 years ago over in Salem, and it was government, higher ed, industry, all kind of getting together. And one of the people that was there was NVIDIA's director of artificial intelligence, really intelligent man. But he said something that was really profound. He said, AI is not going to take your job. It's people who know how to use AI that's going to disrupt your job, right? So
Because they can do it more effectively with the use of AI.
right,
Right. That makes sense.
they can do more. So like you pointed out, Brent, you can assign that to Bennett. Well, Bennett now can, if Bennett thinks of himself as, I am now the head editor for EO Alive, what do I need as for a team underneath me to accomplish this? Do I need a copywriter? Do I need a, I don't know, strategist? Do I need, like, what do I need? And then he can use these systems to do that work, right? Same way with you, right? You can say, well, I'm going to go out and, perform marketing. I've got a marketing contract or a video contract with, I don't know, state of Oregon, right? What are my strategies? Well, it's not even that. I'm going to go out to get that contract, right? I'm going to go bid on an RFP or something like that. What are my strategies for doing this? How do I, how can I take that RFP, right, that project, put it into this system and develop a strategy and process, content, collateral, all of those things to go after that contract.
Interesting.
That's crazy.
Now the other part about that is your competition is also doing this because people are incentivized to do it. So this is that race to the top or race to the bottom, however you want to look at it, right? Where companies are going to be incentivized to do this because it will make financial sense to do it, and so they're going to, right? So this is it's a cycle, and it's happening right now, right?
Wow.
Got a couple comments. Bud says, pretty soon all of our young will think like this, not thinking it. Steve West says, AI is not good. And I mean, I'll disagree with Steve on that. There's some positives about AI. There's going to be positives and negatives about everything.
Yep.
But there are some things. I mean, AI is going to help us down the road. It's one of the questions I have for you though, Justin, regarding AI. It's like, because you work for EOU. What are schools doing to stay proactive to not let AI take away some of their
Well,
I mean, because I can pretty much probably get a degree from AI.
Well, you can't get a degree from AI
Right,
because we have to
right.
go through a certification process. So there's right now higher education it's a very interesting time to be in higher education with these
Right.
with these systems. So there are universities that are already set up to leverage artificial intelligence, and they are. Oregon State University, I mean, they are an AI school, right? Jensen Huang is the CEO of NVIDIA, but he's also an OSU alum, right?
Yep.
NVIDIA is the company that makes the chips behind behind the supercomputers that process this stuff, or the data centers that process this stuff. So they've hit the gas and they're going hard with it, right? I met with their CIO at a meeting, and there is no question in her mind. This is what we need to do, and we're doing it. But also their president, and they're heavily leveraged in these platforms. Other schools are doing the same, especially big flagship schools. But schools like Eastern Oregon University, mid to smaller liberal arts schools, we're wrestling with that very question. Like, what does it mean? Academic integrity is a big conversation that's happening,
Yeah.
right? Students will students will always try and find a shortcut, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. But if higher education is one of our roles is to prepare students for the job force, or for the workforce, this is something that we should potentially be teaching, right? I'm not a faculty member, so I don't. Faculty members get to make those decisions over their classrooms, coursework, curriculum, and pedagogy, which is great. They should, right? Some may want to use it, some may not want to use it, some may want to use it in certain roles, some may and say, can't use it this way, right? I think most students want to get a good education. Most students are honest and want to do this and learn, right? They're there to learn. I think that we need to be more clear with how they can use this or shouldn't use this or what have you. But again,
Like
that's
some guidelines.
Yeah, some guidelines, and I think that's my personal opinion.
All right.
Right.
I like that.
So
Well, hey, we got about 10 minutes left before you got to go, and so you were wanting to show us some of the features and do some demonstrations, and so yeah.
sure. So yeah, let's take a look at the model. So at the model, this isn't actually looking at the model. This is the forward-facing interface. So that's overlaid onto the 4.0 model, right? So ChatGPT, they've got multiple models, right? They've actually discontinued. It used to be 3.0 and 3.5 you could access, but those are all the older models. There's two ways of interfacing. One, this is the forward-facing commercial interface, but you can also build, right? So if you're a developer, you can build applications on the model on the back end. There's different costs associated with it. This is the Teams Plus, so it gives me access to all of these models plus other things, and I'll show you those in a second. So 4.0 is the general. This is where you go to do most of your work. You can search the internet. You can, for Selena Gomez. I don't know why that.
She's trending.
Is she right now?
Yeah, it's for something. I saw it on TikTok earlier too. Like
Oh.
she was at the top of the list. I don't know what for. I think it's because she's getting married.
Makes sense. See, ChatGPT's in the know. Knows more than I do. You can create pictures, search. You can use the reasoning model, which I'll talk about in a second, and you can also write. So this is a writing interface that allows you to basically dictate whatever you're writing, and then go in and make adjustments, edits, things like that. We'll start with the picture. I don't know. What do you want? What kind of picture do you want?
Do a picture of an elephant.
Picture of let's go robot.
Okay.
Elephant.
Okay.
On a motorcycle in the desert. Let's go big. So these things take a little bit to render, obviously.
Well, when you really think about it, it doesn't take that long for it to come up with. This is wild.
Here is the image of the robot riding a motorcycle in the desert. Let me know if you need any adjustments. Still loading. There we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'd get that tattooed.
That is awesome. That is so awesome.
All right, yeah, and so
Is that unique, one of a kind, or would they? If I wrote that same thing in my chat thing, would it?
Would it
Yeah.
do it?
Yeah.
well, and yeah,
I don't.
And-
Go ahead.
and who does that belong to? Who do the rights to that belong to?
They're arguing that in the courts right now.
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Yeah.
That's one of the gray areas because the model is trained on potentially trained on copyrighted images. I don't actually know, and it's rendering this at my request. It could be considered a derivative work. I'm not monetizing this in any way, so I don't know. I really don't know.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. So a couple other things that can be done with the model is, so I talked about O1. Sorry. So they have GPTs. These are transformers that are trained specifically on certain tasks, right? So you want a data analyst, they're optimized for certain things. Professional writing coach, web browser. So you can also train your own GPTs. I've created a bunch over here that I use for work. Then we can go back to the O1 model. This one is a reasoning model, so it's really meant to do more complex tasks, right? Typically it would be like math, science. I don't know. Tell me about the theory of relativity and how it applies to the quantum world.
Oh my gosh.
So it's going to think. So basically what happens is at test time, when it's giving you this answer, it repeats and goes back into the system and thinks and thinks and thinks to try and give you the best answer possible, as opposed to giving you something within seconds, right? Almost immediately. So
then it's testing itself. I mean, when
Yeah.
it goes back and back, then it's like, oh, am I that right?
yeah, it's testing its answer, and
Yeah.
it's rerunning through the transformer. It's a little slow right now. Sometimes that happens.
It's given all this information though.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel.
So it's talking about the foundational issues between merging theory of relativity with quantum mechanics.
Quantum context, conclusion.
Yeah.
It's
Wow.
a whole paragraph.
Yep. So there you go. Oh wow, you can use this is cool. You can use the voice mode with O1 now. That wasn't a thing prior to, which is cool. But now you can also use it with Canvas, so you can open it up. Now write an essay about this for a blog. So hopefully here in a second, it will open up. All right, let's stop it. Sometimes it'll do this where,
It gets bogged up.
yeah, there's a lot of people using the system across.
Right.
Right. So I mean, if you think about it like that. Oh,
Wow.
yeah. So now it's writing an essay, but I'll stop it because I wanted to show you over here. Let's go.
Oh, so when I ran that same on mine, it gave me the same picture with a different colored background.
Cool.
It's like a
Oh,
darker
really?
background. Yeah.
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 Huh.
Yep.
So let's see,
But
right.
it's the same elephant on the motorcycle, but the background's like a brownish, like darker color.
Yeah, and one of the cool things out there on social media right now is that you can say more elephant, more motorcycle, and it'll like make the elephant bigger or the motorcycle bigger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So you can end up with this little elephant on a big old motor, or a
Yeah.
big old elephant on a little motorcycle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's whole deals out there of just short videos of people doing that. Where it's
Wow.
like, I did it with one. It was more America, more tank, and it's just bigger and bigger tank, and the little guy on top waving a giant American flag. It was so cool.
Tank.
So
Wow.
one of the things I wanted to show too is the Sora model. So Sora is the video model. It's their video creation model. And with this, you can create short little video clips. So let's take our elephant. So show a robot elephant riding a motorcycle through the, did I spell motorcycle wrong? I did. Through the desert. Actually, let's use that because guess what?
It'll probably spell check it, won't it?
It'll figure out it's figuring out the context. So that's one of the new changes or new things that these models are, that the foundational models are doing, is that they're actually now, instead of going specifically based upon the single tokens, they're doing now, it's called contextualization, where it's looking at everything and inferring what you mean, right?
Yeah.
So even though I spelled cycle wrong,
Right.
It's probably gonna nail it.
yeah. And it takes a little bit of a second. to
So
do
this
that.
comes along with the ChatGPT subscription, Sora.
Yes, Sora does. You get basically 5-second clips.
A month or
Yeah, a month. So here, it gives you different versions. Here's our motorcycle and elephant.
I like that outfit better.
I do too.
It's even got the
Killer.
shadow
That's crazy,
of the,
man.
or whatever that is down there in the right-hand corner. It's like a,
The shadow, yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And you
then
could put. I mean, obviously, you
here's
can't
the
put,
other version. But see, this is where the thing gets interesting, right? It sometimes screws up.
so it doesn't have its hands on the handlebars because it,
Yeah. Well, the motorcycle and the elephant are the same.
Yeah, it is an elephant motorcycle,
Yeah.
basically. And
Oh, I
it's
see.
blowing dirt out of the end of its trunk. So it's like sucking in dirt to drive.
Yep. But some of the other things that you can do, here are some photorealistic clips of a woman at a window. She doesn't exist, or maybe she does in the computer. Here's them.
Can
Yeah.
you take like pictures of like real people and add them in?
Yep, you can upload videos
And say,
Yeah.
hey, make this. That's how they make all these videos of people,
yeah.
saying stuff that they don't really say, or the celebs naked and all that.
Yep. That's
Wow.
exactly how they're doing it. So
Wow.
here's some other videos.
Because some of them look really real, like like they'll have like a press conference, right? And it'll be a coach saying something that coach would never say. You know what I mean about one of their players, and it looks so real, dude.
Yep.
It's
Well, there was a recent one with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden dancing in the White House with Trump not being elected or something. No, Trump being arrested, I think it was.
yeah.
And it was so good that they actually had to call in a research group
To check.
and they
Oh,
were able to,
wow.
they were able to figure out, like, Kamala Harris had 6 fingers on one hand, and like those are the kinds of details that you have to look for, though,
wow.
right?
That's
So
crazy.
like, like this one right here that I did the other day, you would look at it and be like, okay, this looks real. It's a girl graduating, but except that, like, that doesn't look
There's a
right.
bonus hat
Yeah, there's a-
involved.
Well, yeah, there's a bonus hat, but like how her finger is pushing the hat in the air.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and it's not even attached to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But over here, like, this one is a little bit better. But the thing is like, I could clip this to here, roughly right about there, and you wouldn't be able to tell, right?
Right.
When you do download these, they put a watermark on it here, but people can just clip that out, or you can remove that watermark. It's not
Wow.
hard.
No.
I'm not recommending it, but
Right.
you can.
Wow. Just bonkers.
It's crazy.
So,
Yeah, like that ski scene. That's all right.
yeah.
So we got to get you going. You have a meeting here in a minute.
Yep.
Anything else you want to?
Oh, yeah. One of the other things that they're coming out with here, I'm going to play this for you.
Okay.
This is Notebook LM. It's a research tool, so you can upload it. The other thing that you can do with these systems is you can upload documents and have it review the documents. But this one will actually create a podcast.
It seems like AI is everywhere these days.
This is a podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
Like every day there's some news story about it,
And
like
it just
self-driving
made
cars
this-
or
it just
algorithms
made
it.
that are like predicting what we're
Based
going to
upon
buy
the
online.
content.
Yeah.
So
It's
I
wild.
could take
And
like
PR
an
is
article
right there
written
in the
about
thick of it.
sports, upload it, and say make a podcast out of that.
It'll do it, yeah.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Wow.
With two, can you establish, like, can you say there's 3 different people talking, or how do
Currently,
you-
no. Currently, it's just the 2 voices, but it's not. It won't be long before. That's just with this out of the box, right?
right?
But it'll be. It won't be long. I mean, I'm sure you could do it now,
Wow.
but this out of the box doesn't do that. So
before we quit, just real quick, so then in your job, marketing and PR at EOU, you have a staff. How do you guys use this in a practical manner to do your job?
Sure. So I use it for a lot of strategic ideation, content, copywriting, right? So I'll go in and say, hey, I need a press release for this, that, and the other,
Yeah.
and I'll give it the information. Emergency communications. I use it to generate emergency communications and crisis communication plans. It's so much faster than having to think through something. I just put the details in and it generates the information, right? That's could be a life or death thing sometimes, right? You know, we have
You want to get that out. Say there's like a shooter on campus or something.
we don't say that out loud.
Or, well,
Yeah.
okay, I'll use it different. Say something happened on campus and you want people to be more vigilant.
Yes,
You know what I mean? Like, you can pop that in there and just get it out as fast as possible.
absolutely, yeah. And again, it's like we're humans in the loop, so I'm not putting it in and it's not
Right.
going out. I put it in, get the information, and then we review it, and then it gets sent out. Then we send it out.
Right.
My team, they use it for coding, you know, looking at code for different things. We don't use it for image generation or video generation, only because we want to be representative of the university. So we want to show real people doing real things, real students doing real things.
I agree. I like that. Yeah.
And that goes back to, I'm actually going to be presenting at the Counselors for Higher Education in Washington, D.C. in March on ethical AI in public relations. So, and how to implement it ethically and in a way that is productive, but also, you know, is conscious and cognizant of some of the issues that come along with artificial intelligence. So, yeah.
Well, very cool. But in order to do that, you have to know terms like strategic ideation. It's like, okay, yeah, what is, anyhow.
That's just a big fancy word for planning.
Yeah, it's all right. It works. Well,
Smart planning.
yeah.
Planning.
Well, Justin, thank you so much.
Yeah,
This is awesome, and we'd love to. I mean, as this develops, if there's some cool things that are happening, man, let us know. We'd love to have you come back and
If you
talk
want,
some more about it.
bring me back anytime.
Yeah.
I would be happy to.
Awesome.
So, all right.
All right. Hey, thank you guys. We're going to take a commercial break real quick, and we will be right back with the rest of the show.
Here in Eastern Oregon, we're blessed to live in such a wonderful area. And though it may seem mild-mannered, there's actually quite a lot that goes on in this area. And apparently, there's 2 dinguses who happen to be here that are actually crazy enough to get up at the crack of dawn to talk about it. Tune in to AM Live on EOA with Brent and Dodsey, featuring special guests, weather, sports, news, and more, every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 a.m., only on EOA Live, your connection to Eastern Oregon, now on Roku.
All right, we're back. That was fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's so Tanya and I watched a movie last night called Stealth. It's an old, made 20 years ago, 2005. But, you know, and it was about these 3 pilots in advanced aircrafts, and then there was another aircraft that was totally robotic and could think. And you know, in 2005, that was a futuristic movie. Now, that technology probably already is in the military aircrafts in some manner, you know.
I mean,
Yeah.
they were doing similar things to that, like in 1985.
Right,
Like
yeah.
Kit, remember, like Knight Rider?
Well, of course, yeah, right. Right.
Had
But
its own mind.
it's just so fascinating to know. I mean, fascinating and scary. You know, it's kind of like,
Pretty scary.
yeah, you know, if you're an optimistic person and you believe that good people will continue to do good things over powerful things, you know, then it's good. But that being in the wrong hands,
Yeah. I mean, there could be some bad come out of it. There's no doubt. It's like anything, I think.
yeah,
Like it's all about who has, you know what I mean, who has it and how they use it.
yeah,
It's scary though. There's no doubt about that.
yeah.
Scary.
Well, let's take a look outside real quick at the weather. And that, can you renew that cam? Maybe that's kind of how it is. Let's look at the weather graphic.
That don't look right.
No. So 18 tonight. It's been cold in the evenings.
It's warming up now.
Yeah.
Compared to the last few nights.
Yeah, and so the next few days, it still looks pretty dry, but it's going to be during the day 43, 44. It's going to be warming up.
Moving into the weekend, though, we have a pretty good chance of some
snow showers, yeah.
precipitation.
And I had heard that. I had heard that before, that was a possibility. So
It looks like probably snow possible in overnight, but
Yeah.
during the day, probably not.
yeah,
We're looking 39, 40. That's probably going to be more rain than
yeah.
anything.
And then we'll come back to the weather cam real quick here. It's kind of pretty out.
It's clear. That's why it's been cold.
Yep.
There hasn't been no clouds.
And for those of you that might be interested or don't know, the weather cam is on our website, EOA.tv, and there is a tab that says weather cam, I think it is, and that's where that is. And right now that weather cam, I think the downtown weather, the downtown image is up for a minute, and then it flips for 15 seconds to the trip check images that come from the passes and highways around here. So
Bud says that they thought Wolfman Jack would ruin them all in the 60s. I mean, AI is a little different.
or
than
rock,
Wolfman
well,
Jack.
rock and roll. That
Yeah.
maybe is, that's maybe a better
You
comparison.
know, but rock and roll isn't going to take over the infrastructure of all the computers.
Oh, I think parents thought that was the case, that rock and roll was just going to ruin everything, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think AI is a little bit more something to
Invasive?
Be more, yeah,
Potentially invasive?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to seek rock and roll. You know what I mean?
Right.
AI is going to seek you,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Well, it's kind of interesting because the other day I had mentioned to Justin that, this AI button shows up on a whole bunch of different things. And the other day I got a PDF, and now
Yeah, it's
Adobe Acrobat has an AI. And I had never, for me, it was just annoying, And so, but I opened up a PDF, and the AI button actually summarizes the PDF.
Yeah.
And so I checked it real quick just to see if it did it. And it did. I mean, I had read through the PDF, and then I checked the AI button to see if, and it picked out the pertinent dates and facts and
Which is nuts.
money figures. And isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So,
It's going to save us time. The positive thing is going to make you more effective.
well, and I think that is Justin's perspective.
Yeah.
His point, I mean, it came back to that over and over again, is that if you want to be competitive in the market that you're in, then you're going to find ways, which, speaks to us as a small business. I mean, if we're trying to get work done, but we're trying to keep expenses down so that we can be competitive and survive and so on and so forth, then it's like, so we pay $25 a month and we spend less. For me, for instance, it takes a tremendous amount of energy for me to write an email or for me to write an article now I can dictate it into the phone pretty quickly, but it never sounds good, okay, you know. And so then, you know, maybe in my life, if I needed to write an email and I dictated it quickly, and then I said, hey, take a look at this and reframe it.
Yeah.
But, you know, but I would have to tune that model so that it sounded like me, not sounding like.
We're not there yet.
No, yeah.
When it comes to AI. I mean,
Yeah.
because I was testing it the other day.
Yeah.
There's search engines online that you can plug a whole, you know, whether it be a couple sentences or a whole article into, and it'll tell you whether it's not AI. And it nailed it every time I tried. I wrote something out myself, like just off the top of my head, plugged it in and said, that was human written, like instantly.
Really?
Yeah, and then I I went to AI and I said, hey, write me about a little bit about Sandy Koufax. So it printed me out a little blurb about Sandy Koufax. I plugged that in and it said that's 99% chance that's written by AI.
Huh. Interesting.
So they have the AI detectors already. So you can't, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a little while before they're able to make it indistinguishable or more about, you know, like coming from your perspective. Like,
Right. Well, and that's not much different than, you know, I mean, I've had family members in the past that have, and I still do. I'll have an important email or something, and I'll send it to my daughter or whatever it is.
Yeah, take a look at
it.
You do it to me all the time.
I do it to you all the time, yeah. But then there are times that I get the edit back, and it's like it doesn't sound like me anymore. It sounds like you know. And so then there's a training thing of like, okay, I can't send you something if you're going to totally rewrite it, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I get it.
yeah, but anyhow.
It's gonna be fun to watch it all unfold.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would happen this fast. Like I didn't think. But if you look at our advancement, we're advancing way too fast for our own britches, man. Like people in general, like we should not be advancing this fast.
Yeah, I don't disagree, but it's part of technology. I mean, once you let the horse out of the barn or out of the corral or whatever, I mean, you just don't have, it just kind of goes on its own, you know.
It's crazy.
And so, I mean, yeah.
I wish we could like have somebody from 100 years ago just bring them here and just see what, you know. I wish that was possible. You know, like Back to the Future or whatever. Like just take somebody from like the early 1900s and just sit them down right there and have them follow you for a day.
You know, it is so, I've mentioned this before. My grandpa was born in 1903, and as I listened to historical things and dates and whatever it was, and it's like, wait a minute, that happened 20 years, just 20 years before my grandfather was born or whatever, you know. And so then you think of the advancement to this point. It's just,
it all happened.
It's just
all
bonkers.
Super fast.
Yeah. So
Bud says the Jetsons are coming. Hey, we're not far away. Seriously, it's not far away where people are riding around in little spaceship looking things, you know. Like I mean,
yeah.
It's all going to be about getting stuff done as fast as possible. That's the trend we're on.
Right.
That's the human way. Is like everybody's in a hurry because we want to get stuff done as fast as possible. And so we're going to, by the time it's all said and done, people are going to be dang near like teleporting. It's going to be crazy.
But it's not from a management, from a business management standpoint. That is a natural trend. Okay, so in our business, then what are the things that as an owner only I can do? Okay, well, those things that only I can do, I have to do regardless. I mean, they've got, and so then anything that I can offboard to somebody else, that is efficiency. That's how it should be. Okay, well, and so then if you think about that trend and from the standpoint of AI.
Well, I'll disagree with you on that. Not anything that you can offboard, because you still have to keep up your end of the work in order for us to stay alive. You're an employee too. You know what I mean? You can't offload everything, because then you wouldn't be carrying your part, and then it would, you know what I mean? We couldn't afford it. There's no way.
But the point is that something that somebody else can do instead of me is going to give me time to do the things that are critical for me to do. And so, it's just a basic management principle.
I mean, I think that works for like a big corporation, but I don't think it works for small businesses. I think for small businesses, the owner or the boss, if they're part, you know what I mean, if they're part of it,
Yeah.
and they can't. So say like, like in order for us to stay alive, you have to carry a 40, a whole job,
Right.
a whole full-time job, and basically that's true. Mm-hmm. You can't offload everything.
No.
You have to do stuff that you might not want to do, or that you think I can do, or that Benny can do, because that, in order for us to stay alive, you have to. But a big corporation, then they can be like, oh, I can offload everything because that's just minuscule in the overall picture. Right.
And I'm just saying that in that effort, whatever size you are, you're going to consider. AI is going to be something that you're going to consider, just because
you'd be dumb not to.
Because it makes your life more efficient.
Yeah,
So.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm a firm believer in this too. It'll make efficient people more efficient, but it isn't going to make inefficient people more efficient.
No,
I
and see
promise you that.
Well, and see that's kind of where I'm at.
It's not going to make somebody that's not fast and efficient more fast and efficient.
Let's just say it this way. So, going back to this editing example that I gave, I trust Benny. Okay. So he knows me, he's been with me long enough, and so on and so forth. So I know that if I just hand him, like the El Salvador project not too long ago, I had very little input into that just because I didn't have time. Well, he just did that, Well, I trusted that he was going to extract the story and do that. And so, because I didn't have time to go back and double check and so on and so on. Well, I would never do that with a non-existent person that I didn't know.
You might one day.
Yeah, I might one day, but I'm not there. I'm a long ways from there now. Right. Yeah.
I mean, and what does it really matter if you're going to look at it when it's all done anyways?
Yeah, well, except that.
I mean, if you're not saying, hey, go edit this and then put it out without any involvement from there on out.
Yeah.
I mean, you could throw it to a computer and see, you're going to look at it anyways.
Right.
So that would be the process in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you did that a few times and it came back how you liked it a few times, then you're like, you know what I mean? Like, I can throw it to this thing and it'll do it just as well,
Yeah.
fast.
I guess the point is the trust part of it, So, well, hey,
Wild.
let's real quick before we quit here. Just want to remind you that this Thursday we're going to have the choreographer and two of the musical members that are going to be with us for the EOU show called "It's You, Me, and We." Music that brings us together. That is a show that's happening next weekend. We'll be giving tickets away to that next weekend, or during the week. We'll be giving them away on social media, so be sure and watch our stuff. And that music event is going to be next Friday night, next Saturday afternoon, and next Saturday night. So we'll be talking about that. There'll be fun guests to have with us. It'll be a lively conversation, I am sure. So, all right, man, you want to get us out of here?
So on this day, January 28th, 1813, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice is published by Thomas Egerton in the UK. 1855, on this day, the first locomotive to run from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean on the Panama Railway. 1956, on this day, Elvis Presley's first appearance on national television on the Dorsey Brothers stage show. 1958, on this day, Lego patents their design of interlocking Lego bricks, which are still compatible with the bricks produced today. 1985, the charity single "We Are the World" is recorded by the supergroup USA for Africa. And that was like Michael Jackson, Bruce Springsteen, a bunch of people. 1986, on this day, the Challenger exploded 73 seconds after takeoff from Cape Canaveral, and it killed all 7 members on board, including Krista McAuliffe, who was the first
School teacher, yeah.
school teacher to ever go to space. Yeah. The #1 movie in America on this day in 1985, Eddie Murphy's Beverly Hills Cop. That's a good movie. And then the quote of the day comes from Ian McLaren. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. One more time. I've probably used this one before because I like it. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle.
All right.
That's all she wrote.
Hey, thank you guys.
Thursday, the
Good
musical
show.
guests.
Yep. See you soon.